これがマリアお姉ちゃんの言う魔法の力なの？
おお、魔法を知るということは、今まですぐそばにいたのに気づけなかったたくさんの友達に気づけるということ。まるで新しいおもちゃ屋さんが近所にたくさんできるみたいに楽しいこと。
If even I, locked up in an academy without a single friend, had power like Maria One-chan, I wonder if I could make my days just a bit richer. I wonder if I'll be able to honestly shed tears on nights I feel like crying, to smile on gray nights.
うん、できるよ。エンジェはできる。だってエンジェにだって魔女になれる資格があるもん。
魔女になる資格？
マリアも魔女になれる資格あるんだよ。だからまだまだ勉強中の修行中なの。きっと素敵な魔女になってほうきでお空をかけてケーンで虹を描いて飴玉を空から降らせるの。
Hell yeah, you will.
マリアはきっとできるよ。そしたらエンジェにも見せてあげるね。きっとそれは素敵な夢の中のような光景だから。
Maria One-chan said that, making an absolute promise with her smile. There's no way I can become a witch. But if Maria One-chan says that, it makes me feel that maybe I really can become a witch. Because in reality, on that desolate night when no flower of a smile could possibly have bloomed, her magic surely gave birth to a smile.
魔女になれるかな？
なれるよ。だからマリアよりも修行は大変かもしれないけど、でもきっとなれるよ。だってもうエンジェは魔法の一端に触れてるもの。
私が魔法を？
うん、だってほら、もうこの世にはいない私をこうして呼び出して語らっているよ。
これは魔法なの？
うん、私が日記に残した魂のかけらをエンジェは魔法で膨らませて私を蘇らせてる。さっきも言ったよね。こうして私と再会して会話ができて時に笑顔を見せられるんだから、エンジェは魔法の才能がきっとあるんだよ。マリアお姉ちゃんが保証する。
お姉ちゃんはさっき言ったわ。私は日記を開いた時にしか会えないと思ってるけど、本当はいつも身近にいるって。私に魔法の力がもっとあれば、それを見て今こうしているようにお姉ちゃんと会話ができる？いつでも？
うん、いつでもお話できるよ。朝のおはようの時だっていつもそばにいるし、授業中だってそばにいる。退屈な授業は私とお話しして気を紛らわせようよ。食事の時には話し相手になれるし、お昼休みだってこれまでのようにいつも一緒にいようよ。放課後だって一緒にいるし、もちろん寮に帰ってからだって私はいつもそばにいる。日記を広げた時にしか私を見てくれないだけ。
日記を閉じてもマリアお姉ちゃんは私のそばにいてくれるんだよね。
Hell yeah.
いるよ。だからエンジェが私を見ようとして、そして話そうとしてくれれば、私はきっと答えられるよ。しっかりと見て話そうとしてくれれば。
私やってみる。
簡単じゃないよ。いきなり上手くなんてきっといかないよ。
分かってる。きっと簡単じゃないと思う。でも私マリアお姉ちゃんみたいになりたい。
おお、わかった。じゃあ私をよく見て。しっかり見て。
うん。
ゆっくり目を閉じたり開いたりして。いきなり長くつむっちゃダメ。私の姿を瞳に焼き付けては、それをまぶたの裏に染み込ませていくつもりで。
うん、やってる。
まぶたを閉じても私をイメージできる。そのままゆっくり柔らかく目を閉じていて。どう？まだ私が見えている？
多分見えてると思う。
じゃあ一度目を開いて。いよいよ本番。心を落ち着けたら日記を閉じて。その時一度マリアの姿は消えてしまうかもしれない。でも焦らずに心を落ち着けて。そしてまぶたの裏に染み込ませた私を逆に瞳に染み込ませていくつもり。ゆっくりと虚空に私をイメージ。私を虚空に見て。
大丈夫。じゃあ閉じるね、日記。
おう。
Slowly, I closed it. When I did so, a gray reality filled with dull air unfolded. Of course, Marione-chan's form disappeared. Give it all you've got. Have courage. Take the first step into the world of witches. I felt like Marione-chan was cheering me on inside my heart. Damn right she would be. She's cheering me on? Absolutely. Really? Yeah, hell yeah. I always just think that she is. No, she's absolutely doing it. No, that's wrong. It's because I think this that I cannot see her. Marione-chan is always by my side. Yeah! And even now, she's definitely there, cheering me on to do my best. That reached my ears. So I mustn't ignore it like it's my imagination or the voice of my own heart. I believe that Marione-chan is there. I mustn't doubt. I believe. Marione-chan said she'd always be by my side. I must not doubt that. Looking at that empty space by that empty back wall of the school building, amidst those almost heartlessly boring rays of sunlight, calling out her name was unexpectedly difficult. The chains of common sense that had clung to me until today sneered at me, telling me that calling out to the empty air was ridiculous. It was almost like being told to take a step forward off the roof of a skyscraper overlooking a sea of lights. It's Marione-chan saying it. It's alright. She's saying that I'm someone who can do it. Stop thinking that you might fall, or that it'd be foolish to take a step off a roof, and free yourself from those chains of common sense. I steadied my breathing. I concentrated my mind. Make the vivid form of Marione-chan in the empty space before you rise to the surface. Understand magic. And see Marione-chan.
Maria, お姉ちゃん。誰かいるの？
At that time, I was answered by a rustle in the bushes and a wild cry, and I came to my senses. It looked like I was the only one behind the school building. No, god damn it, some asshole has to ruin the moment. No, since I'd been so immersed in the world of the diary, I had noticed someone coming. I recognized a group of 3 beyond the bushes. They were kids from my class. From their appearance, it felt as though they'd come behind the school building to gossip about someone or talk in secret. I hurried out of that place, because if it became known that I'd been alone in a place like this, mumbling to myself, it'd become a pain again.
言ったよね。言ったよね。マリアお姉ちゃんとか言ったよね。やばくない？心霊とか見えちゃってんじゃないの？
God damn it.
あれ。
I could hear the shrill, loud laughter from behind. Irritated and feeling that Marione-chan had been made fun of, I left that place at a quick pace and then jogged once I turned the corner. I might have made it to One-chan's world with just a little more time. It was frustrating, aggravating. Why does everyone get in my way? I haven't gotten in anyone else's way, not even once. I ran and ran, but it still felt as though I could hear their shrill laughter. God damn. That was quite the fucking backstory. Holy hell. Maria's too fucking precious. I love her. That's all that little bit reinforced. It's just Maria's fucking precious. She's amazing. 1998. Who the fuck are you?
あんた、ビルのてっぺんから飛び降りたんだって？
追っかけがうざかったんで、ちょっと巻こうと思って。
Angie and an old gentleman wearing an expensive suit were alone in a massive modern conference room. All the newest machines for presentations were installed there, but the damp settings were refined and composed atmosphere. And that alone was enough to make the business-like theme of the room abundantly clear. However, that didn't matter all to Angie. She carelessly sat on a high-class chair that the executives making a salary of several 10 million yen probably sat in, looking aloof from the world.
下の方の階で改装工事してて、転落防止ネットがあるの知ってましたし。
Angie talked about it like it was no big deal, but in reality, it had been a miracle among miracles. To think that she'd shot through several layers of safety netting for the remodeling project, being caught in a multicolored banner adorning the atrium and slipped off, only to be softly caught by a final banner, land on the ground without a scratch, and then briskly leave that place. It put Hong Kong movies to shame.
いくらネットがあるの知ってたったって、高さ200メートルの超高層だよ。もしも思い通りにならなかったら、今頃大変なことになっ。
死んだら死んだで、それまでってことでもいいかなって思いまして。まあちょっとした運試しです。若気の至りってことで。
As though saying that she'd had enough of the topic, Angie shrugged coldly. Seeing that, the old gentleman, who was looking at the world below through a crack of the blinds, cackled.
運試しときたか。いやはや、やっぱり金蔵さんのお孫さんだね。うんぷてんぷ。天会長も博打に平気で命を懸けられる人だったが、これも後ろ宮の血なのかね。やっぱりあんた、将来大物になるよ。悪いことは言わない。家出ごっこはこの辺で切り上げて、須磨寺の家に戻ったらどうだい？
お母さん、実家と仲が悪かったって聞いてます。お葬式で初対面の人の家になんて行きたくないです。
The Sumaderas are Mom's family. They're an old family from Kyoto, and compared to Mom's frank attitude, unbelievably strict. The only Sumadera I'd been on good terms with was Grandpa, who was living apart from his family under the guise of retirement. Mom kept in touch with him, too, but she avoided the rest of them, the family, completely, almost hostilely so. So when I went out to play with the Sumadera family, it was always Grandpa's house I visited. When I was young, I didn't really understand it. But I hear that Grandpa was in an extremely weak position as a man who'd moved into his wife's family register, and his relationship with Grandma was also bad. Might even say that Grandma hated him and confined him to the house. It isn't hard to imagine that, because she had a soft spot for Grandpa alone, Mom was also hated by the Sumaderas. Since I was her daughter, they probably hated me quite a bit too. And yet, they appeared for the first time at Mom's funeral, shamelessly going on about how big I'd gotten, like they could actually like family after all this time. When Aunt Eva died, I would inherit all the wealth of the Ushirome family. If that wasn't what they were after, there's no way they would have been able to say such disgusting words.
まあ、一人ぼっちになっちまって、自暴自棄になりたいエンジェちゃんの気持ちもわからなくもないな。
自暴自棄とかじゃないです。こううるさいエヴァおばさんがやっとくたばったんで、久しぶりにのびのびと散歩してるだけじゃないですか。周りが大げさに騒ぎすぎなだけです。
Of course, everyone's after the vast Ushirome wealth I bear. They must think that becoming my guardian means they'll be able to do as they please with that wealth. So many people have tried to get close to me, acting like they want to be a substitute parent.
エンジェちゃんも辛いことがあったら、俺でよかったらいつでも
You
相談
don't
して
look like a
な。
very trustworthy guy, my dude. I'm gonna be upfront and honest with you. You don't seem like the kind of guy who would be like, yeah, no, I could talk to you about things, my dude. You look like the exact kind of dude who's gonna like try to swindle me out of as much money as possible. Which is probably the point. That's probably why he's acting all nice and shit. It's like, well, if you ever need a friend, yeah, that you have billions and billions, you know, I'd be happy to be your pal.
エンジェちゃんのこと実の孫みたいに思ってるんだからさ。
はあ、当面はノーサンキューということで。それより話を戻してください。
エンジェちゃん、何度聞かれたって俺が隠してることは何もない。あの日の六軒島の唯一の生き残りが会長なんだ。その会長が何も語らずに言っちまった。俺だって何もわからないよ。全ては闇の中だ。
This old gentleman was one of those leaders who'd been entrusted with the business group Ava had built up after she passed away. The one he called chairman was the former chairman, Shiromiya Ava. His company once had friendly ties with Hideyoshi's business, and he'd had a close relationship with both Hideyoshi and Ava. For that reason, when Ava lost Hideyoshi, he became the only person to whom Ava might have let her true intentions slip. Whenever Ava's heart was torn by the loss of her family, whenever she took it out on Angie, he had acted as a buffer between the two, so although Angie didn't trust him, she found him a very easy person to question.
あの事件は、いや、事故か。
No, what was that? What was that little Freudian slip there? That crime?
事件なんて言っちまったら怒られちまうな。それは俺も世間やワイドショーと同じ程度の疑問は持ったさ。
どうしてエヴァおばさんは事故当時、屋敷から2キロも離れたところにたった一人で、それも嵐の晩に。
当時金蔵さんは次の跡継ぎに誰を選ぶかで迷われて、表向きは長男のクラウスさんってことになってたんだが、クラウスさんは
それで親兄弟4人の中から公平に跡継ぎを決めるため、碑文の謎。
それは表向きだな。おそらく金蔵さんは初めからエヴァさんを当主跡継ぎにするつもりだったんだ。長男が跡継ぎだという自らのルールを撤回してでも、クラウスさんと違い非常に勤勉で優秀だったエヴァさんに家を任せたかったんだ。碑文の謎を解いた者に家督を引き継ぐな。クラウスさんから次期当主の肩書きを奪うためだけの茶番だったんだろうな。
茶番ってどういう意味ですか？
あの碑文は誰にも解ける必要はなかったのさ。
I don't know, the last two episodes would disagree with you there.
適当に刑事期間を経た後、本当に金蔵さんが後を継がせたかったエヴァさんをその答えを与えるだけでいい。つまりそれこそが当主継承の証ってわけさ。
それはワイドショーでは言われていない話ですね。
まあ当主継承がうんぬんなんて話をしたら
As they
余計
should,
陰謀説が
because
優
Ava
勢
is
になっ
kind
ちゃ
of
う
an
から
evil
ね。
bitch.
俺もバカじゃないからさ、誤解を招くようなことはわざわざ口にしないよ。
This was his theory. At the time, the Yoshirame family head Kinzo, whose remaining life was announced to be short, was troubled by the problem of who was to succeed him. Normally the successor would be fixed as the oldest son, Kraus, whom Kinzo had chosen himself. But in his later years, Kinzo began to think that Eva would make a more fitting family head. However, Kinzo, who was stubborn even against himself, was stymied by the title of successor that he'd already given to Kraus. And he'd searched for an official stance by which he could skip over Kraus and select Eva as his successor. That official stance was the riddle of the epitaph. The primary successor was still Kraus, but there was a new rule, saying that if someone appeared who could solve the riddle, they would be chosen as the successor to the headship. Then, on what would probably be his final family conference, Kinzo told Ava the answer to that riddle himself. In short, it was the same as proclaiming that Ava herself was the successor.
エヴァさんはあの日、金蔵さんに呼ばれ、それを打ち明けられたんだ。そして、当主を引き継ぐため、当主だけが知る隠し館であるクワドリアンにエヴァさんを呼びつけたのだ。
で、一足早くその隠し館で待っていたエヴァおばさんは、そのおかげで事故の難を
That's the
逃れ
fucking
た。
story they've cooked up, huh?
エヴァおばさんが全ての財産を奪うために事故を装ってみんなを殺し、自分だけ難を逃れただけかもしれない。
大衆紙はそう騒いでるな。
Papers are pretty damn right.
だが俺はエヴァさんを信じて
I
る。
sure fucking don't.
信ずるに足るポイントがいくつかあ
I
る。
disagree.
例えば
Yeah.
今エンジェちゃんが指に通してるその後ろ三宅投手の指輪だよ。その指輪は金蔵さんが特別に作らせた世界に一つしかない指輪だ。そして今エンジェちゃんが指にしているものは間違いなくそれだと作った細工師も認めてる。
Yeah, and? Just because she has the ring doesn't mean it was given to her. The Ishirame family head's ring. That ring with the heft of gold and the one-winged seal on it. Had a diamond arranged on a pedestal and felt both sturdy and reminiscent of the dark hobbies of the rich. Kinzo had worn that on his finger without removing it even for a moment. This man was saying that the fact Ava had proved that Kinzo had acknowledged her as his successor.
その指輪を確かにエヴァさんが持つからこ
Once
そ
again, she had it. Doesn't mean it was given to her, voluntarily.
そして実際にエヴァさんが優秀で、クラウスさんにはビジネスシーンでの数々の集大が知られていたことを加味す
Changes
ると、
nothing.
エヴァさんの話は全くの作り話とは
I
思えない
can.
んだ。
その指輪を奪うためにおじいさまを殺害した可能性だってあるけれど、そしてエヴァおばさんは何らかの細工をして事故に見せかけて一族を皆殺しにした。
そうだな。大衆紙は財産の独り占めが目当てで一族を皆殺しにしたなんて言ってるようだな。確かにエヴァさんはここ一番では随分思い切ったこともしちゃう人だよ。あるいは後ろ宮家の財産を独り占めできるチャンスに生涯でただ一度の殺人を犯したかもしれない。だがね、俺はそう。
Yeah, well, I don't trust your fucking opinion at all. You're just some dude.
そう信ずるに足るポイントの2つ目は
yeah, what do you got?
エヴァさんのご家族だよ。
That is something I worried about, but not worried about, but something that kind of like makes you question like what happened. From what we gathered when they were like debating back and forth about it, it seems that Hideyoshi was involved. Obviously, nothing has been confirmed in red or denied outright, but from the way they were talking about it, it seemed like Hideyoshi was involved somehow, and I imagine George in some way found out and tried to get in the way of it. Like Hideyoshi was involved, and Kirie was suspicious of Hideyoshi. That's what we gathered at the end of 3 when they were debating back and forth about it. Was that Kirie was suspicious of Hideyoshi and tailed him to the mansion, and something happened there in their altercation out there that ended with those people dead. Hideyoshi being one of them. So Ava didn't kill Hideyoshi for sure. And then, fuck, how did George die? Right, he went to go see... No. Yeah. Beatrice took him to revive Shannon, and then the Chester sisters killed Shannon and George. Which, if the Ava Beatrice was actually Ava, then that would mean... Well, it wouldn't mean anything. Because also Ava Beatrice killed Hideyoshi. So... And I'm pretty sure it's actually Kirie that ended up killing Hideyoshi. But if Ava Beatrice is involved, it makes me wonder. I'm guessing that, yeah, George would try to resist her. Like, he wouldn't go along with this. Like, he found out what she was doing. And... somehow, someway, he ends up in the parlor where Shannon's corpse initially was. But he found out what his mother... But in short, he found out what his mother was doing. Didn't agree with it at all. Threatened... she was probably like, no, once we have the money, you'll be my successor and it'll be amazing. He's like, no, the moment we're off this island, I'm turning you into the cops, Mom. This is what you've gone way too far. And so, to keep that from happening, bang. I'm guessing she did kill George, but obviously it wasn't something she wanted to do. I'm sure she first tried to convince him, but it didn't work. But I don't think she killed Hideyoshi. Because Hideyoshi, as much as the king he is, like, he's gonna defend his woman to the very end. Even if she's doing some horrid shit. I can't condone that much defense, but you know what? I can admire that kind of loyalty, for sure. Obviously, this is all just mere speculation with really no basis behind it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like what I'm saying is facts by any means, but hypothetically, if it were to be true, I can admire Hideyoshi's position in that.
秀吉さんにジョージ君、エンジェちゃんはにわかには信じがたいだろうけど、エヴァさんはあれでかなり家族を大事にする人だったんだ。
That is true. True. Part of me didn't want to believe it or acknowledge it, but I did understand vaguely. And Eva certainly had been a person who highly treasured her family. After all, the root of her twisted personality had been nothing more than the sadness of losing her beloved husband and son. After getting hit with her angry outbursts as she tried to distract herself from the pain, there were no feelings of sympathy at all. Good. But it's not like I can't imagine how the incredible shock of losing her whole family must have changed her character. Yeah, I'm sure you can relate to that
家
somewhat.
族を愛したエヴァおばさんが夫と息子を見捨てるわけがないと。
そうだ。もし本当にエヴァさんが犯人で、一族を事故に見せかけて皆殺しにしたならば、夫と息子が絶対に生き残ってるはずなんだ。偶然、自分の家族だけが隠し館にいたとへりくつをこねてね。
Not if, that's the thing, not if her family stood in the way of her accomplishing her goals. Like, if she put in all this work to make it happen and then they turned on her, yeah, she's like, no, you can't turn on me like this. And yeah, sure, her family dying is going to twist her personality, but imagine how twisted her personality is going to get if she has to be the person if she's the person herself putting them down.
もし秀吉さんとジョージ君も無事だったなら、さすがの俺でもエヴァさんの陰謀を疑ったろうよ。俺は秀吉さんの葬儀で見せたエヴァさんのあの号泣を演技だなんて到底思えんね。
Oh no, she'd regret it for sure. But she'd still do it. I'm certain.
どっちも状況証拠的ですね。
Yeah, you let him know, Angie.
エヴァおばさんの潔白を物理的に示すには至らない。
それを言っちゃおしまいだよ。生き残ったのはエヴァさんのその彼女が、それが真実。
でも彼女の潔白は誰にも証明できない。
ああ、そうさ。そして彼女の犯行も誰にも証明。そして信ずるべきポイントの最後が
The police? You expect me to trust cops? Pfft. Please. Nah. The police. Ha.
何しろ派手な事件だったからね。陰謀説を騒ぐ世論に後押しされて、警察が随分とエヴァさんを調べたはずさ。
Not if they were fucking bought off. Like, imagine having billions of yen in the fucking 80s, alright? You'd be fucking ballin'. You think you could buy off anyone who fucking came in contact with that crime scene? She absolutely could. Name your fucking price. Bruh. The cops? I don't trust cops on default, but dealing with a rich person's crime? Pfft.